Inn, in Crystal Lake at the Holiday Inn, in Homewood at the Ramada Hotel, in Joliet at the Holiday Inn, in Gurnee at the Holiday Inn, and in Maryville, Indiana at the Radisson Hotel at Star Plaza.
I suppose it was my idea of independence. I'd set out in the mornings and walk far enough to where it was just me and nothing else, to where everything I knew seemed very far away. And then I'd get scared, and all I could think about was getting back to where it was safe and warm and familiar. There are tastes and smells and feelings that remind me of home, but only one that takes me there. Bob Evans Farm Sausage, the taste that takes you home.
There's a new O'Connor Hyundai for everyone, as low as $56,888 for brand new, dependable transportation. Sonata, as low as $10,225 for world-class luxury on wheels. And wait till you see our selections. We have over 100 on display in our luxurious showroom, all O'Connor priced, with 5-minute financing.
If anyone can, O'Connor can.
We have never seen a deal we could not beat.
If anyone can, O'Connor can.
O'Connor Hyundai, 9205 Southwestern.
And you're seeing the float from the Pipe Fitters Association Local Union 597 marching down Dearborn Street from the river to Van Buren in the 1990 Labor Day Parade in Chicago. Oh, it's the little people, Joel.
Right in front there of the parade, of the float you mentioned, the little people. Always a part of just about every parade we have here in Chicago.
You haven't been kissed, Joel, till you've been kissed by a little person.
Have you been kissed by a little?
I have been kissed by a little person.
Oh,
it's an amazing experience.
I bet it is. Pipe Fitters, as you mentioned, a 10,000 member organization covering 7 counties here in Illinois and 5 in Indiana. And this is another union, or one that's well over 100 years old.
It was founded as a steam fitters union when people were out having steam heat installed in their buildings many years ago. And it was called Steam Fitters Local 2 when it was organized way back in the 1890s. 1880s, as a matter of fact.
Or when you've been with the Chicago Federation of Labor since, what, 1957?
No, it's in the 40s.
In the 40s. Well, you've been working with the Federation.
I graduated from the World War II into the labor wars, and actually have found it extremely pleasant and rewarding work.
We just saw the Boy Scouts go by, the Chicago Area Council Boy Scouts of America. We don't want to miss them. They were walking right behind the pipe fitters marchers, and had to peer over the heads, but there they are.
And incidentally, Chicago Federation of Labor this year has made the Boy Scouts their contribution center of the year. Now, each year the Federation acts for various charities, and this year we're making the Boy Scouts our object of attention.
Great organization.
And money.
Great organization. Here's another great organization. Couldn't be without it in a Chicago parade. The Shannon Rovers Pipe Band. I love it. Grand Old Town. Amazing how they can actually make music with those, I don't want to offend anyone, those squeaky little reeds. Local 134 of the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union. Lots of electrical workers in the Chicago area and a number of different locals.
That union itself has about 18,000 members, most of them in the construction area. In addition, there are local unions in telephone companies, in the power systems, Edison Company, and in manufacturing as well. So it's one of the largest unions, and that union is international. Next year we'll celebrate its 100th anniversary.
So apparently, I mean, from just what we've been hearing today, the beginning of unionism, in a great extent, is just about 100 years old.
Exactly. And the Chicago area was the center of the growth, as a matter of fact, because it's right here that there seemed to be more enthusiasm and openness to unionism at that time. After serious difficulties in 1886, when we had what was called the Haymarket Affair, with serious difficulties after that, getting the 8-hour day and so on.
Something that's become a regular moment or a regular feature of our parade. Remembering POWs, MIAs, sadly.
And we must not forget. Chicago District Council of Carpenters.
The District Council of Carpenters has membership in about 13 counties all over the northern part of the state. There are 35,000 skilled carpenters in that organization. They have a 4-year training program. I see George Vest, Wesley Isaacson, Bob Newell, all officers at the Carpenters District Council.
I don't know if you want to comment on this, Marianne, but recent surveys taken in the popular press indicate that carpenters are at the top of the list of being the sexiest men. That's the sexiest career.
Why, Joel, I thought it was...
No, it's not.
Singing attorney anchorman.
No, it's
My
not.
heavens,
I'm
shocked.
I think it's the belts they wear with all of that equipment, you know.
No, I'm not going to comment, Joel, but...
Is that why they're getting so many women to apply for apprenticeship in the Carpenters Union?
Could be. They look terrific with those belts.
Yes, well, interestingly enough, most of the unions now are recruiting women in carpenters because they're under programs now to get women into the various trades.
And we've been watching while we've been talking the part of the IBEW that takes care of all the traffic lights and alarm and communications.
These are the people years ago, Joel, those maybe in our youth you saw electrical workers with the climbers climbing wooden poles to get to make repairs. Now they don't do that any longer.
Put those spikes around their legs and just climb up. I always wanted to do that.
Well, as a matter of fact, when they went out in the country sometimes, they climb up there, and somewhere out in a certain area, they carry rifles because the bears were coming right up after them.
Coming up just behind Local 9, the Andrews High School Band, sponsored by Local 9. Another part of the band competition today.
And the business manager of that local is Nick Burkhardt, who is also on the Chicago Federation of Labor's Executive Board.
Mentioned that there are about 40,000 marchers today. That doesn't count the people participating in the floats, of over 50 of them, and 50 other marching and 22 special units. So this is a big parade. And you know, it's mentioned several times, it's a lovely day, and it's moving along. It's just working so efficiently. And so the people who come out on their lunch hour on a Friday to watch the parade and see what all of this noise and commotion is about, they're having a wonderful time. Lots of happening. And with that, we'll take a break, and all of that happening will continue in just a minute.
The men and women you see marching today in unity with other members of the more than 300 local unions with over 500,000 members are the Chicago Federation of Labor. Through their unions, the working men and women of the Chicago area act to make the workplace safe, housing affordable and livable, and for a healthful environment. As we take pride in our accomplishments for all the people since the first Chicago Labor Day Parade in 1885, we pledge to act in solidarity with all men and women of goodwill as we march toward the new challenges that will arise this year. We extend our good wishes for a joyous and meaningful Labor Day holiday.
Well, look, maybe the guy wasn't listening.
Oh, here it comes.
When allergies come on this strong, Benadryl comes on stronger. For information on the pollen count in your area, call 1-800-325-5374, toll-free from any touch-tone phone. That's the Benadryl Pollen Track Hotline, 1-800-325-5374.
The fresh scent of Era. How fresh is it? Era, fresh and clean as the air after a spring shower. What do you say to mustard, to barbecue, to grass? But the protein power of Era do the talking. And just say, scram. Era reigns over stains.
This isn't an ad for a tropical vacation. This is an ad for Zenith's 46-inch projection television with a color picture that could only be called brilliant. If you've never owned a Zenith giant screen television, maybe now's the time to get your feet wet. Zenith. Quality.
It's here, the only American-made car in its class, the all-new 1991 Ford Escort, redesigned from the ground up, giving you room for 5, more style, and a more powerful fuel-efficient engine. And right now, your Ford dealer gives you even more, 4.8% financing for 48 months. That's right, 4.8 financing for 48 months on the all-new world-class 1991 Ford Escort. This special offer ends September 3rd, so see your Ford dealer today and get 4.8 financing for 48 months on the new Ford Escort.
And from Munster, Indiana, it's the Munster High School Band, sponsored by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Unit 165.
Local 165 is primarily telephone workers.
Boy, they've had their hands full of late, as have those who work for Commonwealth Edison.
Yes.
You know, it's been really amazing in light of the tornadoes that struck this week. There were telephone workers who volunteered, Erwin, and I'm sure you know this,
right,
not only from across Illinois, but they came from Iowa, Indiana, and Wisconsin as well. And there were literally hundreds of phone workers who were not only climbing the poles and working on the cables, but going door to door and knocking on people's doors and saying, can we help? What can we do?
And many of those people who came were not even called. They just came because they figured somebody needed them.
What a thrill for these young people. March down Dearborn Street in the big city of Chicago, drive in by bus from Munster, and be able to sit in front of their television set and say, Mom, look, there I am. Where? Well, you just missed it.
I understand the parade will be telecast at 1:30 tomorrow on Saturday.
That's right. Big high school band. There's the roll-off. You'll get to recognize that quite rapidly as we continue through this parade coverage.
Many of the unions, especially those in the communities around Chicago, make generous contributions so that these bands can perform, secure instruments, have lessons, and travel to occasions like this.
This is the IBEW Local 1030 float. 1030 represents 31. I'm sorry, represents 8,000 working men and women.
That was once the largest union in the city. It went go before so much of the production of television and radio went overseas.
Sure, we had Zenith and Motorola. We still have, but
we still have a few. But most of those firms now, GE, for example, is producing most of its material overseas. And as a matter of fact, that local now with 8,000 is just maintaining itself. I'm sure it's going to grow some as they're finding that the quality starts in the United States.
These are the members of 1031 who represent Interlake, the material handling division. Well, you can read it right there.
And I think we have floats representing Sola Electric, Advanced Transformer Company, and others. The union's also sponsoring 4 very special cars in today's parade for car buffs. We can see one coming in view
I
right
love
now.
them.
You like that?
I do.
Doesn't that look great? It's a 1956 Mercury.
And the business manager is Solomon Martin, very active trade unionist in the Chicago area.
There we have the, well, let's see, this would be that's the Mercury.
That's the
56 Mercury. I should know that.
Right behind that, I think, is a 68 Chevy.
No, I think that's a Chrysler product.
Plymouth.
There's the Chevy with the, boy, always love that teal color. There's the 68
Chevrolet. That's the 68 Chevy right there.
I think this is a Dodge in between. I don't necessarily think it's a Dodge Polara.
You people so young, how can you remember that?
I remember driving a 56 Mercury.
I appreciate them, Joel.
If I'd only known. In fact, my first car was a 1949 Chevrolet.
And here we have the float from the Carpenters Union. This is local number 1.
Local 1 does most of the work downtown. These high rises, the structures you see around you, primarily where much of the work was done by members of Local 1.
And chartered, I understand, in 1887, Irwin?
Right.
Has to be among one of the oldest unions in the city of Chicago.
Right. Well,
this is the local 10 float.
The local 10 is also in its celebrating its centennial. That local is out in the southwest side primarily, but also they cover the carpenters who do all the work at McCormick Place. And that's Secretary Treasurer Dick Ladinsky of the Illinois State Council of Carpenters. And that is a statewide organization which does lobbying and other activities for carpenters.
Another lovely band, the Crete Monee High School Band. Marching in place as they approach the reviewing stand, they will perform. Interestingly, you don't hear John Philip Sousa very often.
No, everybody's going for a more contemporary kind of sound, or jazz sound, or almost a rock sound. All right, as the band marches by, as the members of the Crete Monee Band head to the reviewing stand, we're going to take a break. But we'll be back in just a minute with continuing coverage of the 1990 Labor Day Parade.
Labor Day is an important day, celebrated by all workers represented by unions. Even though organized labor represents not all of the entire workforce, the effect of collective bargaining sets standards for both union and non-union workers. Our forefathers fought to establish our basic rights. They gave their lives to guarantee workers' rights for future generations. The fact that gave them strength was they had nothing to lose. This helped put us where we are today. Our generation, while enjoying the fruits of our forefathers, is locked in a life-death struggle for the rights of workers. This time we have everything to lose. Our opposition is richer and more powerful than any military force in history. Resolve this day to be aware of the job we must do, and then resolve to do your part no matter what.
There are tastes and smells and feelings that remind me of home, but only one that takes me there. Bob Evans Farm Sausage, the taste that takes you home.
My mother and I had our morning routine down to a science. We were partners in a race against time. And somewhere in those hurried moments, we also became friends.
Bob Evans Sausage and Biscuits, ready in a minute and a half. The taste that takes you home.
I've been overweight so long that I just felt like I was destined to be fat. And now, look at me. I can wear things that are tied around my waist and big prints, and I'll even show my legs. The night that I walked into Jenny Craig, I walked in with my head hanging low, and when I walked out, I felt 100% better, and I hadn't even lost a pound yet. What I've learned from Jenny Craig is moderation. Anyone can lose weight, but the key is to learn how to keep it off, and that's what the lifestyle classes do. I look the way I thought I would look, but better. I walk by big picture windows, and I kind of look twice because I still can't believe that it's me. There's just something I'd like to say to all the people that have teased me when I was a kid and in junior high and high school. Nah, 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 nah. I'm on TV and you're not.
Announcing the final weeks of the Jenny Craig Summer Special. Lose all the weight you want for only a $79 service fee. Only $79. Call 1-800-76-JENNY. Our summer special ends soon. That's 1-800-76-JENNY.
Hi, I'm Katie O'Connor with brand new O'Connor Chevrolets, priced from $53,888 to $65,000. Name your price and get the perfect car, truck, or van for your budget now. From Geos to the 91 Caprice, Lumina, Corsica, Cavalier, and a full line of Chevy trucks. Used cars from $588 too. 5-minute financing, special first-time buyer program, and cash rebates.
At O'Connor, we have never seen a deal we could not beat.
If anyone can, O'Connor can.
O'Connor Chevrolet, 127th and Kedzie, Alsip.
Welcome back to the 1990 Labor Day Parade in Chicago, Illinois. Joel Daly with Marianne Childers and Irwin Klass, our labor historian. We're having a wonderful time watching, and we hope you are, as we review on videotape. We are looking at the Elk Grove High School Band right now. I've got to mention, this is sponsored by the Plumbing Council of Chicago, whose executive director is Dan Leyden. I say I have to mention that because Dan is also the coordinator of this parade, as he is for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and we couldn't do it without Dan Leyden.
And he does a fantastic job.
I saw him up and down the street 3 or 4 times already.
And you said earlier how everything's going along beautifully and every float is in its place, every piece of silver is polished, of course, because Dan's in charge.
I think it's terrific, Erwin, that the organized labor is supporting music in the high schools, as you have already told us it does, because it's an expensive proposition, and a lot of schools just don't have the resources to persist with music programs.
This is especially important in suburban and other rural communities. We've had passing in the last few moments the float of Carpenter's Old 58, which is unique. They had a sign that said 900 years of union membership. In other words, they had 15 people there who had an average of 60 years membership in the Carpenters Union each. And some of them are still working. Obviously, it's a trade which certainly has longevity. We had Local 54 with Martin Rumliff, the head of it. They do a lot of the work, Joel and Marianne, in the building docks at the lakefront.
And what we're seeing right now is Carpenter's Local 1027 Mill Industrial Division float.
Yeah, those are cabinet makers. And they have, interesting enough, to have quite a few women joining that local union, because women seem to have a talent for that kind of work, designing and creating structures that can be used in offices, banks, homes, so on.
We have another political contingent, this one led by Roland Burris. Roland is the three-time comptroller of Illinois. He's now running for Attorney General. There he is. He's doing a chant.
That's right.
There's a dog for Burris.
Complete with a Burris sticker.
Well, this is a great way to get exposure when you're a political candidate, and it's the American way.
It's surely the Chicago way, Joe.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be a parade without some kind of political involvement. Someone just yelled, "Hey, Erwin." Some of your friends down there, maybe you recognize them. Yeah. Are these the Will and Grundy County Building Trades Council?
That's Ernie Kummerow was chief of the laborers union in this area, a member of the Chicago Federation of Laborers Executive Board.
Now we have the Laborers District Council local, all kinds of numbers.
Right. And the labor has been very active, Joel. You indicated the support of music. They've been very active in supporting the musical programs in high schools in this area.
Now there's a little pickup truck behind this float, which our viewers cannot yet see, but we'll see. It says Laborers Training Center. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, they've started an apprenticeship training program in the Laborers Union. This is historically it's called the least of the skilled work. However, they said that all you needed was a strong back. But as a matter of fact, now with changes in the methods of construction, even the laborers have to learn quite a bit in learning to read blueprints and know the differences in materials. And therefore, they're having a training center to give young people some familiarity with the jobs they will have to do in the future.
Our next political contingent here, we're seeing marchers and a float for State Treasurer Jerry Cosentino, who, of course, is candidate for Illinois Secretary of State.
I didn't see Jerry.
I didn't see Jerry, but he's got a lot of friends and neighbors and supporters out in force.
Well, Jerry, of course, has been a member of the Teamsters Union. He's in the trucking industry himself. He has been state treasurer, I think, 2 terms, and is now in an active campaign endorsed by organized labor for the office of Secretary of State.
Now, does the parade committee, the Labor Day parade committee, specifically invite political candidates, or can anyone march?
But anyone who asks.
I see.
March.
Okay, so it's not a partisan affair.
No, anyone who asks can march. And if you notice that there will be, I'm sure Lynn Martin has been marching. Has people. I see some of her signs, and perhaps she's running for governor of the state.
You know, we've seen some pretty interesting,
Senate of the state.
Pretty interesting floats go by demonstrating the various trades. This one is hotel employees, restaurant employees, union local #1. It's decorated like an outdoor cafe, and they're all set to have you enjoy a wonderful, wonderful afternoon in the sun at their cafe.
And you see they're wearing the uniforms of their specific trades. That's Hotel and Restaurant Employees, Local 1.
Their theme is servicing the people who service America.
Yeah, now as we watch the little outdoor cafe roll on down Dearborn, we have the United Farm Workers, and they have a loudspeaker, and they have a message, which is boycott grapes. That has been a long-standing goal of the United Farm Workers to organize those migrant workers, particularly who work in the vineyard. That's why you see the big stop signs, boycott grapes.
And I think you can probably hear just coming into earshot now. This is the Carl Sandburg High School Marching Eagles. They're from Orland Park. They were with us last year for the Labor Day Parade. Well, also, you might have seen them in one of the Bears preseason games.
Great band. Orland Park in the southwest suburban area of Chicago, rowing.
Carl Sandburg wrote the famous poem about Chicago, calling it the hog butcher of the world, the tosser of railroads, and so on.
And the city of big shoulders.
Right, and now what has happened, you see, in the changes, the hog butchers are gone.
But the big shoulders remain, Irwin. Right. And we'll be back with more of the 1990 Labor Day Parade right after this.
For many of us, Labor Day is a day we look forward to, for cookouts and time away from work. But for service workers and those of us in the labor movement, Labor Day is every day. Labor Day is symbolic of the freedoms from sweatshops and crumbling mines and the horrors of work camps and company stores. It is not just this one day, but it's all the other days. It's the 8-hour workday, a 5-day work week. It's overtime pay, genuine job security, pensions, medical benefits, maternity leave, disability, the minimum wage, and paid vacations. They weren't the boss's ideas. These were won by working people, organized into unions, who worked hard to have a decent, secure, dignified life for all of us.
Now it's Talk to the Money Store.
Phil, what's this I hear about the Money Store offering a 14-day money-back guarantee on home equity loans?
You're only half right. We've just doubled our guarantee. Return the money within 30 days of closing, and the deal is off at no cost to you.
The Money Store must be twice as sure its loans are the best.
That's right. We guarantee it. Our low fixed rates have helped make us America's leading independent home equity lender. Call the Money Store or the Mortgage Baron. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
I didn't want him to hurt Mom.
Your only hope is to face your drug or alcohol problem.
He really frightened us.
There is hope for your family.
I know I shouldn't drink. I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
For 10 years, for thousands of families, Alcoholism Treatment Center of Central DuPage Hospital has meant a new beginning.
We have to work together. It's up to you.
For hope and help, call Alcoholism Treatment Center at 708-653-4000.
Howard gave me this beautiful bird. You know my son Howard. He owns Howard Pontiac in Elmhurst. But I said, Howard, what I really want is a Firebird. Everywhere I go, I see people driving Howard Firebirds. No wonder you're the largest Firebird dealer in Illinois. Say, how about a Firebird for me? And Howard said, Mom, hold on to your hat. My Firebird. Now we're going to fly.
Howard Pontiac, Elmhurst.
On Grand Avenue.
40 years ago, Dunkin' Donuts was making the freshest, most delicious donuts you could buy.
I still do. Oh, yeah? I used to make Dunkin' Donuts in dozens of varieties. What do you think I do? I make them in up to 52 varieties. But I made them fresh, day and night. I still do. Really?
Dunkin' Donuts. The freshest then, the freshest now.
And just coming into view here, the Hooved Animal Humane Society and a lovely lady on horseback there, actress Loretta Swit, star of MASH in Chicago, starring now in Shirley Valentine at Wisdom Bridge Theater. And she's marching with, hey Joel, a contingent from AFTRA, our union, Actors Equity.
American Federation of Radio and Television Artists.
We have a star-studded parade today. Actress Loretta Swit in Chicago and in the 1990 Labor Day Parade.
And Gloria Engel, of course, and they're also a member of AFTRA and the other unions in the entertainment field.
There's some of our brothers and sisters of AFTRA. Some on horseback, and then those just behind walking along with their standards.
And as I mentioned, star-studded, and Irv just mentioned actress Georgia Engel. We know her from Mary Tyler Moore's show. She's also in Chicago, and you might see her if you've gone to see the show Nonsense.
Well,
at the Wellington Theater.
I'm assuming then that she's one of the people in the habits, because I don't recognize her otherwise.
No, Joel, right there in the just coming into view, just behind the yellow sign there at the top of the screen.
Oh, she's in the car.
She's in the car.
Well, there are a couple of nun look-alikes running around.
In her civvies.
Performing their nonsense.
Incidentally, recently we had a passing of the float of Teamsters Local 743. Joel, that is the largest union in the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. 25,000 members, not one truck driver. They have office employees, hospital employees.
Pretty picture of Georgia Engel. Remember her from the Mary Tyler Moore show. I guess you mentioned that. Wasn't she allegedly married to, I mean, in the show, she was married to...
Ted Baxter. The anchor man.
Yeah, Ted Baxter.
Yeah. Why can't we say that name, Joel?
I don't know. It sticks in my throat. Well, this must be the Screen Actors Guild, which is now hyphenated with AFTRA. And we're seeing a little scene, or hearing a little scene from Pump Boys and Dinettes. As we're watching, there it is. Naturally, there we go. It's one of the longest running shows in the Chicago area.
Right.
I remember I saw it about 5 or 6 years ago, and they said, well, you got to see it because it probably won't last much longer. Oh, little did they know. I love it because it's that country sound.
It's a good sound. They've had a couple of cast changes and turnovers by now.
And those are members of Actors Equity, of course, and other unions in the entertainment field, and most of those unions were founded early in the century.
And here just coming into view in a minute will be some of the people that you don't see, because they're the people who work behind the scenes. They're the theatrical stage employees, Union Local number 2.
And that local just had its 100th anniversary. And of course, you have members of Local 2 working at the Channel 7, don't you?
We sure do.
You know, when you see a production like The Phantom, you see how important these people are. Well, all the scenery changes, and that's what they do. They run the lights, they run the curtains. I don't want to misspeak because I know there are a lot of different jobs, but they're what make it work and happen.
And they work, as Irwin points out, in our own Channel 7 studios every night when we go on to do the news.
And they even are employed by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. And that takes skill, too.
In fact, we see some of our colleagues down there holding signs.
All right, there's Jim Hunley from Channel 7.
Hey, Jim.
He's saying, are you taking a picture of me?
Of course we are, Jim. This is the Smart Food Truck and Dancers coming up.
This is a relatively new,
it's a new product,
convenience food, and it's really popcorn with, I think, cheddar on it. And, you know, I've eaten lunch a number of times just by walking down the street and getting these free samples.
And that's what they're doing now, which is why they've stopped.
Could you send one up here?
It's interesting. Sometimes on the other side of the street, they might have someone handing out little rolls of antacids.
We won't tell them you said that.
I don't think there's any connection. There's the Phelan contingent as we get back to politics. Richard Phelan running for county board chairman. And
a little assigned carrier there.
We saw Dick Phelan himself at the vanguard of the parade with the other dignitaries. And these are some of his supporters to remind voters that the general election is upcoming. I think it's on November 6th.
And squad cars from the Cook County Sheriff's Department.
Sheriff O'Grady.
And of course, Sheriff O'Grady is involved in an election. Kind of an interesting political year. Well, they're all interesting in Chicago.
Heck yes, has there been one that hasn't been, Joel?
Here's the National Council of Field Labor, local number 648. These are affiliated with the American Federation of Government Employees. So these are the people who keep our bureaucracy going. And, excuse me, Erwin, the things that keep us going are commercials, and we're going to have to show a couple right now, but don't go away. We'll be back.
Teamster Joint Council 25 represents 150,000 members in 27 local unions in the Chicago area. About 35,000 are truck drivers. Many work in hospitals, offices, shipping docks, industrial plants, airlines, professional and other industries. Our major problem is the export of jobs overseas and severe restrictions on the rights of unions. Remember, there is no real democracy without free trade unions. That is the lesson of the changes in Eastern Europe. So defend the labor movement in legislative halls, in the community, be union, buy American, be sure you are registered to vote on November the 6th.
Now, through Monday, Libertyville Toyota, the spirit that drives Chicagoland for less, is having their biggest tent sale ever to save you more than ever. Look, new Corollas loaded from only $149 a month. New Camrys loaded from only $183 a month. New 91 Previous on sale too, plus new 4Runners, pickups, and more, including used cars, trucks, and vans, all on sale now. But sale must end Monday, so hurry to Libertyville Toyota's biggest tent sale ever. 211 South Milwaukee Avenue. That's 211 South Milwaukee Avenue, Libertyville.
Boop-doop, nothing comes close to the feeling of dancing through the day. Moving and grooving in comfort, no matter what comes your way. And nothing else gives you the freedom to stretch and move like that. Nothing comes close to the feeling of Love Pets.
Love Pets underwear, now available in cotton at all Venture stores.
How about that applause? That's what keeps me going. But I can't take my audience home. But at my age, being alone now and then can get a little scary. That's why I got Life Call.
Life Call is the 24-hour medical emergency system that's brought help to tens of thousands of people all over the country with just the press of a button. A woman from Connecticut writes,
I fell and couldn't get up. I pushed the button, and in minutes, the rescue squad was here.
And a subscriber from Georgia says,
I had chest pains and couldn't breathe, but thanks to Life Call, the paramedics were here in no time.
Within seconds of your signal, Life Call is getting you the help that could save your life.
Call this number for free information about Life Call. I want to keep all my fans alive, too.
Call and ask for free information on Life Call, toll free. 1-800-257-1400. There's no obligation. Call now. 1-800-257-1400.
And welcome back. The parade marching down Dearborn Street on Labor Day in Chicago. A great holiday weekend. School's about to start, but not today. Illinois Federation of Teachers marching by.
And the Chicago Teachers Union, of course, that union was founded here in Chicago. The first teachers union was in 1899. The American Federation of Teachers was established in 1916 right here in Chicago. And at one time, it was the largest local in the country. Of course, New York City has far more teachers, but they're all in the union.
Robert Healy, the president of the Federation, the former president of the Chicago Teachers Union. We saw Jacqueline Vaughn, the president, and also president of the Illinois Federated Teachers. And we're so happy on Labor Day to be able to say, you know, the schools are going to open.
Sure. In years past, that hasn't been the case, but this year, all on schedule. And I see some of the teachers handing out pencils.
Now, this is a group I had not heard of before. Just being out of the mainstream, the University Professionals of Illinois. These marching men and women represent Illinois faculty and staff of higher education.
They're most of them at the University of Illinois Chicago campus.
And they're
wearing the union.
wearing their academic gowns.
Right.
With sneakers.
And here's the float from the Illinois Federation of Teachers, and Jacqueline Vaughn, also president of the Illinois Federation, as she is of the Chicago Teachers Union.
The organization has about 65,000 members statewide. And they do a very effective job, especially in Springfield, getting funds for the schools. And they're active in the program of educational reform.
Here is the Roosevelt High School Band of Gary, Indiana. Neighbors across the border, welcome to Chicago.
Once again, all the bands strutting their best stuff today because they're being judged on their marching, they're being judged on their general effect and their presentation, and also the music, how well they play. Those judges sitting just at the corner of Washington and Dearborn Street watching these wonderful bands march by.
And following Roosevelt High School Band, the Cook County College Teachers Union Local 1600. The Cook County Teachers Union represents the faculty, the classified, and the professional staff of the 17 community colleges in our area.
That union was founded in the early 1930s when the junior college program became effective in Illinois.
What a great program, too, because without it, so many people would not have the opportunity for a higher education.
Norman Swenson is president local. He's been president practically since it was founded. And he's held his post by election.
More, this is the float now from that same organization. Those are, we assume, some of the teachers and staff of the junior colleges, community colleges. Here's Bloom High School.
The Marching Trojans.
From Chicago Heights, Illinois. Temporary stop in the flow of the parade.
Yeah, but they're not stopping, Joel.
No.
That's a continuous show, and they're putting it on all the way down Dearborn Street. In fact, they sound like they're gearing up.
And they're advertising their identity with the Joint Training Partnership Act. That is a development of the last 15 years or so, which helps young people get into the various jobs, training, preparing them for work and treating them. That has both labor and employer participation.
That's a wonderful program.
It's a big band. And look at the long shot. You can see the red, white, blue balloons. That's of another organization. I thought it was associated with the band, and they were going to probably all release them here. Very colorful, the blue.
Well, actually, Joel, they are together. They're kind of marching as a unit here with their marchers and their balloons, and the band leading off the way for the Private Industry Council of suburban Cook County.
And it's all beautifully choreographed. You watch the movements of these young people.
Well, it's certainly harmonious in terms of colors, very patriotic.
And look what their shirts say. JTPA got me a job. The Job Training Partnership Act.
Yeah.
Got me a job.
And in the group, I see Sam Bernstein, who was an associate of the mayors in the past, and he's still working at getting young people into jobs after about 60 years of activity.
Interestingly, on the back of the t-shirts, they have a phone number you can call. Maybe I can read it here. 708-345-JOBS. 708-345-JOBS will put you in touch with that group, the Job Training Partnership Act.
And finally, it's a big contingent because this is the float for the JTPA.
Joseph Monahan is the director of this program.
And I think they have a lot of success stories, and you can see the smiles on the marchers' faces today. They have a story that they want to share.
We're going to see more of those smiles and more of the parade after we take a break in the 1990 Labor Day Parade.
The annual Labor Day Parade puts the city's working people at center stage. It also reminds us that every day Chicago's public employees are behind the scenes making our city a better place. AFSCME members help keep our water pure, work to prevent disease outbreaks, and protect abused children. They staff our libraries and our police labs. AFSCME's 25,000 Chicago area employees working for a better quality of life for all.
There are tastes and smells and feelings that remind me of home, but only one that takes me there. Bob Evans Farm Sausage, the taste that takes you home.
My mother and I had our morning routine down to a science. We were partners in a race against time. And somewhere in those hurried moments, we also became friends.
Bob Evans Sausage and Biscuits, ready in a minute and a half. The taste that takes you home.
I gained about 50 pounds while I was pregnant, and I didn't lose it after I had the baby because I kept eating. I'm normally a very happy, outgoing, cheery person, and I still was, I think, on the outside. I think people saw that, but inside I was miserably unhappy. Some of why I lost weight was I didn't want my daughter to view me that way. I wanted her to be proud of her mom. What I needed structure. There's no way I could have done it without Jenny Craig. They helped me to lose the weight, and they taught me the skills that I needed so that after I lost the weight, I can keep it off. Words cannot express what Jenny Craig has done for me and for my life, and to say that it's thoroughly changed my life is not enough. It looks great, huh? Mama looks great. Yeah.
Announcing the final weeks of the Jenny Craig Summer Special. Lose all the weight you want for only a $79 service fee. Only $79. Call 1-800-76-JENNY. Our summer special ends soon. That's 1-800-76-JENNY.
Before you choose a body shop to paint your car, have they painted more than 5 million cars? Can they deliver this kind of work at a price you're willing to pay? And do they back their work in writing? If you don't know, you better get Mako.
Social Security is up and running when you are. If you need information or service, call early. Weekday mornings between 7 and 9. 1-800-2345-SSA.
And the parade continues down Dearborn Street in Chicago this Labor Day holiday weekend. This is the Sheet Metal Workers Local 73.
Sign says it all. Timothy Roach, President, Business Manager.
And it's another float where the craftsmanship is demonstrated on the float.
This union is up close to 100 years old now, and you'll find them wherever there's air conditioning being installed or heating equipment and so on. You'll find them installing the ducts for this kind of construction.
Looks like we have some sheet metal people there too.
That's right. The artwork made by apprentices of the Sheet Metal Union, Sheet Metal Workers Union. All made, obviously, from sheet metal. So you see, you just don't throw away those scraps. You can make beautiful sculptures.
And I'm not sure you can see there, but it says the float is a salute to Bob Gibson.
There's the Grand Marshal. These are the service employees, International Union. Small in number, but mighty.
And I think getting ready to go up and away, because right behind them, they're bringing their own balloon right down State Street. Down Dearborn Street, I should say.
The service employees is one of the largest unions in the Chicago area.
Encompassing what kinds of businesses?
Janitors, the people who clean your offices at night, the people who are cemetery workers, all the jobs that are primarily, some called unskilled and some are very highly skilled. And it's a union that has a very diverse membership, and it's headed by Eugene Motes, who is also a vice president of the Illinois State AFL-CIO.
You see some of the signs. SEIU works for justice for janitors, supports the farm workers, affordable electric rates, daycare.
Workers' holiday, celebrate!
All of the issues that are so important to all of us in 1990.
And just a little reminder that the union dates from 1921.
What a beautiful carry.
And it was established by Chicagoans. People like William McFetridge, who was very active in the Parks area district here.
I would say that carriage is about 100 years old, Erwin. Now we have the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. They're the people that make our water taste so good and keep it so clean. Best water in the country.
And as the sign on the side of the float says, protecting Lake Michigan. Here we see coming into view the firemen and oilers, local number 7 marchers, and they're complete with the banjo band, Joel, right there in front.
Now
Dixieland.
They operate maintain the power plants and perform building maintenance for municipalities and commercial employers throughout the Illinois. There's that banjo band you talked about.
And of course, they have quite a few of their members working at the sanitary district as well, in the water reclamation area.
And another union just about at the century mark, working in the Chicago area since 1898.
Right, and they were the people who were required. Do you remember years ago when they had boilers that were fired by coal? They were the people who put the coal into the boilers.
Well, we had a little wind coming up here. I'm sure you can hear it at home, but it's a pleasant breeze nevertheless. I tell you, the enthusiasm of the rank and file is terrific. They enjoy their holiday, and well, they should. It's well deserved. Now, this young lady is distributing. Well, I'm not sure, but it appears to be something that people are happy to have. I mean, I don't know what it looked like candy to me.
I think it might have been. This is the American Income Life Office Employees and Professional Employees International Union, number 277, and marchers. American Union Life, the 100% union insurance company. And they say, be strong, be union, buy union, keep America strong.
Chicago Board of Election Commissioners float. Their theme and motto is register and vote. And they're letting some balloons fly away over our heads.
And our breeze has just picked up, so those breezes are sailing to the top of the high towers now.
Along the parade area, they've established counters where people can register to vote in the election taking place on November 6th.
In fact, there's one, I believe, that's just right here beside us, right here on Daly Plaza. So if anyone watching the parade can come up and make sure that they are registered so they count.
Here's a candidate that would like them to be registered so they can vote for her, no doubt. Lynn Martin, running for the U.S. Senate in Illinois.
She's a member of the House of Representatives in the Rockford area. Her opponent, of course, is Paul Simon, the incumbent.
We'll be back with more of the 1990 Labor Day Parade after we take this time out.
Now it's Talk to the Money Store.
Phil, what's this I hear about the Money Store offering a 14-day money-back guarantee on home equity loans?
You're only half right. We just doubled our guarantee. Return the money within 30 days of closing, and the deal is off at no cost to you.
The Money Store must be twice as sure its loans are the best.
That's right. We guarantee it. Our low fixed rates have helped make us America's leading independent home equity lender. Call the Money Store or the Mortgage Baron. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Advanced technology, vital to the new generation helicopters. That's where DeVry graduate Phil Batista gets involved.
I'm working for a leading aerospace company to develop advanced avionics for the Army's most advanced combat helicopter. I wanted a career that took me somewhere. DeVry was the right place to start. DeVry brings the real world of today's technology to the classroom. With DeVry, you're on your way up.
Call now, 1-800-247-7800. DeVry, we're serious about success.
You're going to love Harlem Furniture's Labor of Love sale.
Today, tomorrow, and Monday, Labor Day till 6.
Harlem puts your hard-earned money to work.
Get the finest and newest living room furniture.
Bedroom furniture.
Dining room furniture.
At savings you'll love. Save 70%.
Save more in all 6 stores.
You'll love the selection.
You'll love the 70% savings.
Today.
Tomorrow.
And Monday, Labor Day till 6 at Harlem.
Move up to high-style Harlem Furniture.
You thought you couldn't afford.
And save.
Save.
Save as never before.
Now through Monday.
Labor Day at 6.
Harlem Furniture, you like our style.
Savings, selection, service. You can have them all at O'Connor Ford.
If anyone can, O'Connor can.
Get a new Ford for under $10,000. Like the Festiva, Escort, Tempo, Mustang, Taurus, Probe, and Ranger pickup. 5 minutes financing, even if you've had credit problems. First-time buyer and college grad programs are available now.
At O'Connor, we have never seen a deal we could not beat.
If anyone can, O'Connor can.
Bob O'Connor Ford, 2601 West 95th Street, Evergreen Park.
And it's a very, very warm hello from the heat and frost insulators and asbestos workers.
Yes,
number
sir. They're
17.
waving at us.
Hey, they're enthusiastic.
These are
They're heated up today.
Yeah, and these are the people who installed asbestos years ago to cover pipe, and now a lot of them are working at removing it because of the dangerous effect of asbestos fiber on the health of the people who handle it. So this is
well, their float says building the future as we protect the past.
And they're thinking about the future. There's kids all over that float.
Oh, they're having a great time.
They sure are. Boy, they're waving.
Each of them wearing a T-shirt that says Union Yes.
And in some cases, some very big T-shirts for the very little kids.
At one time, Joel and Marianne, when asbestos was actually being used to cover pipes, the entire football squad of Notre Dame would get summer jobs as union members temporarily to cover the pipes. And the man who was head of the local then, a man named Hugh Mulligan, he became an honorary member, an honorary alumnus of Notre Dame without having spent a day in any college because of his service to helping get people through college.
I think we're seeing the bricklayers.
And they're represented by some antique cars. Local 21.
Model A's to be exact.
And that union's 125 years old in Chicago.
This, if we can go by the license plate, is a Hudson. What a beautiful old car. Bricklayers Local 21. President Moses.
You get a load of this Cadillac.
Well, you'd like that.
I love that. That's a sweet little car there.
Got the fins. There's the Cadillac that Marianne likes so well. 1956. You know how I know that?
No, Joel.
Because it says Caddy 56.
It's on the license plate.
Oh, I'm so smart.
Here, I thought you knew your cars. I think you do. Coming up, we have a float, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 143.
They are school engineers who keep the weather operating properly within the schools. And they're in charge of the physical maintenance of the schools.
So they're at their busiest time right now.
Right now,
the school's just ready to open. They're really on the job.
Here's the Central Junior High School band from Tinley Park. Now this is a junior high school, folks. Look at the size of that aggregation. 95
members in this band, Joel. They've appeared at Walt Disney World, SeaWorld World in Orlando.
Well, they actually have the title Super State Champions, State of Illinois for 1990. Congratulations. Well, they take their job seriously, too. As I mentioned earlier in the program, these folks have to rehearse during their summer vacation in order to be in top form to appear in the 1990 Labor Day Parade. And they clearly are.
And they are eligible in the competition among the bands.
They're going to be a strong contender. You know, Erwin, we have just a couple minutes remaining here as we watch the band and the marchers go by. We know you had some thoughts that you wanted to share on the occasion of Labor Day.
Well, I'd like to insert here the words of Samuel Gompers, the founder and the first president of the American Federation of Labor. And he said exactly 100 years ago, he was asked what the workers want. And he said, we want more schoolhouses and less jails, more books and less arsenals, more learning and less vice, more constant work and less crime, more leisure and less greed, more justice and less revenge. In fact, more of the opportunities to cultivate our better natures, to make manhood more noble, womanhood more beautiful, and childhood more happy and bright. Those are the words that keep the labor movement going.
They're great words, and they could be not only just recited today, but implored again today. We still have to reach those goals. And we'll do it through the kinds of people whom you've seen on your screen today and those who have gathered in Chicago to watch the parade, the people who support organized labor on their day, their holiday, Labor Day 1990.
The theme of this year's parade is Labor Works for You. And today, the men and women of Chicago who work together.
And interesting, labor works for you means that in every area of service, an area for construction, an area for manufacturing, you'll find union members producing, servicing, caring, and I think that is what made Chicago the city it is. I think the city that it's always been called the city that works because working people make it work.
Well, Norman Mailer said, Irwin, that Chicago was the last of the great American cities, and he was referring to the sense of community, the sense of all being identified with and belonging to this central city, Chicago, Illinois. I think I can speak for all of us that that's how we feel, and I'm sure that's how you feel. That's why it is such a great city, and it has wonderful parades like this just to remind us of how wonderful it all is, and the fact that we can live together and enjoy the products and the services of the people who work so hard to do all of it for us. We want to thank all of the people who work so hard to put on this program. It's been a wonderful experience. I've enjoyed it.
It has. A great parade, a beautiful spectacle. Thanks to our cast and crew. Thank you, Irwin. It's always a pleasure to spend this time with you.
And on behalf of President Healy and the Grand Marshal Bob Gibson, wish everyone the most happy, joyous, and safe Labor Day.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful holiday. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for being with us.